Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 AlphaStar replay commentary. We are going to be starting off with the map New Repugnancy today, and we are having a Masters Terran, Master T, going to be taking on AlphaStar in another Terran versus Terran. I think the last match I cast was a Terran versus Terran. But it is always fun to see how AlphaStar will play the matchup out, what the opposing Terran player will do. And then if there'll be anything super significant, that really makes it go, wow, AI has come a long way, or wow, AI has got a long way to go. Now, we're still doing our every other day AlphaStar commentary, working through some of the lower end replays before I move into the final big ones. Or the final best AlphaStar ones anyway. Really though, I think on this channel it's just become like a staple, casting AlphaStar. The day's not right without AlphaStar, so it'll be a sad day when it does end. However, we're not there yet, and ladies and gentlemen, seeing as how we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 gases up, let's try and hit 4 likes on this video. That would be amazing if we could do that. Hit 4 likes. That's the dream right there. Let's be realistic. Now, AlphaStar's TVT is something that can be a little bit of an enigma, as it does like to do its mass air style. The last Terran game which we saw it play was really bizarre. It went like double starport, then threw up some extra factories, then threw up some barracks, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, we'll see what these two players are going to do. For now, though, it is identical builds out of the gate. So a Reaper on the way for both and a Factory on the way for both. Completely mirror builds. The double gas is pretty darn common in TVT for the most part. Personally, I'm a big advocate for it. Particularly if you find yourself dying early on in a TVT. It gives you a lot of room to macro and survive. So then you can play... basically a more normal game, if that's what you enjoy, as having the fast factory really makes your life a lot easier to defend early cheese, things like that. We take a look, double Reaper out for AlphaStar. The Masters player has got 2 of his own. He's making his own Hellion. Now, one of the funny things about how this matchup works is that it can be decided in an instant if one of the players makes a mistake by moving their Hellions and Reapers out too far, not building enough, little things like that can completely cost you a game in TVT. For now, though, it seems the Master player is being rather passive, and oh, look at this! We've actually got a Terran or a human player gonna be trying to Banshee AlphaStar, and notably his starport is just a little bit quicker. He cut an extra Reaper and Hellion opposed to AlphaStar, and so he's gonna have the slightly quicker Banshee. I do enjoy this. Now he's moving across the map with his Reapers, which seems a little bit odd because they're gonna run into the Hellions of AlphaStar and they will just die. The Reapers spot the SCV, but uh-oh, in come the Hellions and Reapers of his opponent. That's bad news, Bears. And it is indeed. So now AlphaStar says, oh, I just killed 2 Reapers. What do you have back at home to stop this many Reapers and a couple of Hellions? The answer is not a lot for the Masters player. His first Banshee is out, moving across the map. We'll see if it's going to be spotted or run into the Hellions and Reapers. It's kind of a double-edged sword. If it does, he can use it to help try and clean up these units. If it doesn't, AlphaStar may be blindsided by this Banshee, which is moving across the map at a very, very rapid rate. This could actually be AlphaStar getting Bansheed today, which would be rather exciting, not for AlphaStar, but to see how well the AI reacts to Banshees. Of course, it will partially depend on the human player's micro too, but look at this, Cloak is just about done. So there's a situation right now in which AlphaStar might get a lock-on the Banshee, then the Banshee can just cloak. Does it cloak? Does it cloak? Uh-oh, no. Okay, last second cloak to keep that Banshee alive. It's now going to start to rack up the kills. The AI is going to be in a very tough spot. We'll see if it's going to scan to find this invisible unit. For now, though, AlphaStar's own Banshee's going to be moving in. What's there for anti-air? Looks like it's just 2 Marines for the red player, so the Banshees are going to be getting monstrous damage on both sides of the map. However, the concern is that the Masters player is relying entirely on his Banshee cloak to get damage done, whereas AlphaStar simply just seems to have enough, or the Banshee is actually just done well enough that there's not enough anti-air for the Masters player to really get anything done. His second Banshee does move to the natural. That's going to need to cloak, and it does, which is good. AlphaStar, however, does have 2 turrets in its main base. The AI, though, is down to 8 SCVs. It still hasn't finished its natural base. Command Center, does the Master player take care of his Banshee? No, he doesn't. Not good enough control, and oh, look at this. The Banshee of AlphaStar does get cleaned up, however, the worker count is 9 to 11. Not a very good unit count for either player. Looks like we're going to be seeing the Starport and the Barracks swap over. The Masters player has yet to start his expansion, whereas AlphaStar should be just about to finish its expansion up. And in a low worker situation like this, I think that definitely gives the lead to AlphaStar. If it starts up an orbital, that would be really good for it. This Hellion's going to come in, though, potentially kill a worker. Every dead worker is really darn nice, but oh, the Hellion does actually get killed off. Looks like the Master player wanted to move out on the map with his 2 tanks, but he didn't think about the fact that there could be a Banshee out for AlphaStar, which would just catch and kill both of his tanks. Looks like the Cyclone and the Raven weren't actually following that Banshee of AlphaStar, though, when they could have easily killed it. So that's quite concerning. We see double Viking production being made for the Masters player. I do enjoy this. However, once again, it is important to note that there simply is no natural base for the human player. Look at this, 13 to 15 workers. AlphaStar is going to have that extra mule factor, which is monstrous, and is going to have an income lead as a result. I mean, a mule, I'm not sure the exact amount of SCVs it counts for, but it's not a small amount. It's got to be a lot. I think it's like 3 to 4 SCVs one mule mines as fast. And so the mineral income is really, really good for AlphaStar. Not to mention the Masters player seems to be hoarding a little bit. Oh, turret has to get dropped, tries to save the Cyclone, doesn't save it though. Great pick off by AlphaStar. We are starting to see pressure mounting, however, from the Masters player. He's got his Vikings, he's got his tanks. We'll see how well the AI is going to react to this, as the tanks are going to be pushing towards AlphaStar. We see a Viking does get locked on. The 2 tanks will kill off that Cyclone, which is really nice. One of them can maybe set up now, and they do indeed. AlphaStar could be getting pushed off its natural, and dealing with this Viking and tank composition is not going to be easy. There is chance that a counter Banshee will get on in, and we could enter like a full-on base trade. However, it does look to be pretty good for the Masters player going for this attack. He didn't focus as much on economy. He's just gone for this one base to try and kill off the AI, and so far it's looking pretty good, as there's nothing really to contest. His Vikings contest his tanks. AlphaStar's units are actually kind of pinned. The Cyclone wanders forward, locks onto a Viking, but eats a tank shot. This tank shoots a Marine or 2. In comes the Raven as well. This is going to be really, really tough for AlphaStar to hold, I feel. Tanks moving forward. Looks like the first shot does go to AlphaStar on the enemy's tank, so he trades a tank for a tank, which isn't bad at all. An auto turret gets tossed down. The AI is under a lot of pressure right now. We'll see how this is going to work out, but there's still 2 tanks for the Masters player, and I'm not sure if AlphaStar is going to be able to clean this up. I think it's just going to have to pull SCVs, as it's still a 1 base versus 1 base. It's building another turret. It's made a Banshee, but that's not what it needs. There's a Raven and Vikings to counter that Banshee, and I think AlphaStar has got to go for it, but in the end, it's just not going to work out right. There's simply too much here for the Masters player. As long as he tosses down his auto turrets, yeah, I don't think AlphaStar can break this. And so, yeah, really, really good game from the Masters player. I'm not going to count AlphaStar at 100% yet, but it's looking like a hold at this point will be virtually impossible. If there was a counter Banshee or something killing all the SCVs of his opponent, I'd say maybe there's a chance. But, yeah, it ain't looking too hot right now. Bunker taking lots of shots. The AlphaStar being pushed back further and further. SCV's trying to repair the bunker, but that will only last for so long. The command center decides to float out towards the natural, but it's just going to get gunned down by the Vikings. Another Banshee finishes up for the Masters player, but that's not going to hold on. And once this command center is done, AlphaStar is just done. Yeah, the AI not ready for that attack. Didn't have enough Vikings. I guess it committed too much to Banshees, maybe too much to rebuilding its economy. I guess it should have identified the fact that there was still no CC for the Masters player, and that the situation was as urgent as it was for the Masters player. So yeah, we've got ourselves a humanity win in a TVT. Quite a scrappy one, I will say. AlphaStar is still holed up in its main, but it's not even making anything. It's lost like all of its production. It's lost its natural base. We simply wait for the GG. The starport is about to go down. A couple of Vikings fly over the turrets. That's a mistake indeed. But the tanks are soon going to be in range of the command center, and AlphaStar naturally starts building a command center in the bottom right-hand side of the map. Way to go, AlphaStar. Counter BANSHEE killed off most of the SCVs of the Masters player, so okay. If AlphaStar can clean this up, then maybe there's a chance. My concern is, though, that there's the Vikings. I guess the BANSHEEs have just got to try and... oh, the orbital's gonna die, isn't it? The BANSHEEs have got to try and pick off the tanks. If they were fully repaired, maybe they could suicide and get 1 or 2 down. Then SCVs and all the other units could make something happen, but... it's looking like this orbital command's in a lot of trouble. AlphaStar is going to have to do something. The BANSHEEs are moving across the map. They are not going to help. Looks like the Vikings and Random Scouting Marine have been found, so this extra command center for AlphaStar is under pressure. The AI still hasn't tried to break this location, and the time for doing that is definitely urgent at this point. There's simply no production really for AlphaStar. Just rebuilt 1 barracks. A couple of Marines wander forward. I mean, there's 23 SCVs, which is not a small amount. If AlphaStar had gone for a pull, used the SCVs to buffer, tried to snipe down a tank, there very well could have been an AlphaStar hold here, but in the end, the AI just doesn't seem to understand the basically do or die type situation. It seems to not like bad situations, like being pinned down by siege tanks, so it tries to pull back, but it doesn't understand that at some point it's got to pull the trigger, and so we do see that the Masters player has won, I think. I'm pretty darn confident the Masters player's won. 11 army supply to 23. There's all these tanks set up. The Masters player economy is virtually nil, but it's still enough. It's still enough compared to the 0 mining of AlphaStar. I wonder how long this game is going to go on for. That's the real question. AlphaStar builds a factory but has no income. We see units dying to the tank shots. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Command center floating around, SCVs, buildings lift off. Derp de derp de derp. Okay, so we actually have a victory for humanity in this one. Really nicely done by the Masters player. It's not easy to commit to a push when you're being harassed by BANSHEEs and have 0 workers, but he's like, all right, let's do it. It's do or die. Now, this match, we have got a Diamond Protoss gonna try and win the series for humanity against AlphaStar, Alpha Z. So let's see how this one's gonna go. We've got a very early probe scout from the Diamond player. Just a gateway though, no forge, but oh, AlphaStar gonna be going for its early pull shenanigans that it likes to do. Fortunately, the Diamond player, pardon me, is gonna say, hey, good thing I went for such an early scout, isn't it? And the answer to that is, yes it is. Good job scouting, buddy. He's now gonna go into the main base with his probe. He'll be like, wait a second, that's a spawning pool. And then he'll say, oh, now I have to deal with a spawning pool. At this point in the game, this is when I, playing Protoss, start sweating. I'm like, oh no, I gotta get my wall up. I'm not sure how to hold this properly as Protoss. I'm a fraud. I don't know. I'm just a Terran wearing a Protoss suit. Yeah, we see he'll probably fire up a Zealot, make his Cybercore first, and then just go from there. Really, that's the proper response. Looks like he will be using a pylon in his wall, which is interesting. You generally don't want to use pylons because they're easy pickings against lings, as they can get a lot of damage, but I guess if you park the Zealot next to the pylon, you can kind of just pop out, take a swing, and I'm not sure how well the AI will take care of that or actually focus it down. So that's something that's interesting. Whether using a pylon is acceptable as long as it's right next to the Zealot, I personally don't know a lot of the finer details about Protoss in that regard, but it is kind of curious. Generally though, to my knowledge, you don't want a pylon wall. Here comes the Lings for the Diamond player. The Adept is being chrono boosted out. I hope that Zealot's in the right position. It might be off just a smidge, I feel, but maybe not. Maybe not. The Lings for AlphaStar actually just decide to turn around and go home. The Overlord, I guess, saw the wall and was like, oh. What a proper response from the Diamond player. The Diamond Protoss has decided to throw up a shield battery too, which I don't mind. It's a very safe decision. His tech is a little bit delayed this game as a result, but nothing too significant, as AlphaStar behind this has got a much later hatchery too. Okay, everything seems to be looking pretty normal. In come the Lings, but the Adept will be able to take a shot. The Diamond player decides to throw up another shield battery, which without any scouting does seem to be a little bit too cautious. You should probably be shading out right now as the Protoss player to say, okay, is there a bunch of Lings just chilling on my door? Then you maybe want to poke out and try and shade the Adepts back so that you can get that scout off. It is important to know things like that. Looks like the tech for the Protoss player will be a rowboat. The Zerg has seen that, which is quite significant though. AlphaStar is just firing up 7 drones right now. Probably going to be building up a 3rd base soon as we see that drone moving on out. Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting game. I'm really unsure of what the Diamond player's plan is. Maybe he'll come out with something looking pretty slick. For now though, I do think AlphaStar is looking pretty promising in this game. Overlord is being hunted by the Stalker AlphaStar, interestingly enough, though, did see the Robo. So it's like, why is it suiciding an Overlord in? I guess just to maybe try and see if there's a Twilight Council or not. I'm really unsure in that regard. If you're a Zerg at that point, don't you just say, oh, I've seen the Robo. I know that the Protoss probably doesn't have much other tech since everything was delayed a little bit. And there's a couple of shield batteries at the front too. And so, do you even want to go for that scout as a Zerg? Is that just kind of like the YOLO scout? For now, we are going to be seeing some gateways get thrown up by the Protoss. We see there's 3, soon to be 4 for the Diamond player. So it could actually just be a bit of a classic 4-gate. He's got an Immortal, saving up a lot of chrono, which I'll say is very notable. It's something that you do want to pay attention to as far as watching a player goes. Make sure they're using all their chrono. Yeah, it does look like it's just going to be a big old gateway all in, though, from the Diamond player. AlphaStar is getting out a Roach Warren, making some spores. 3rd hatchery is just finished up, and the Protoss player is just saying, make units, make gateways. Gateway printer, go burr. A Twilight Council was made, but no research has been started on it, which I'll say is a little bit odd. Why would you make the Twilight if you're just going to go for a regular gateway unit all in? Maybe a bit of uncertainty from the Protoss player. Either way, though, he's going to be on 8 gateways. He's going to have a very large attack to hit his opponent with. I think that's actually going to be 7 gateways. So I correct myself on that. But there we go. Now we'll see a Templar Archives get thrown up. So the plan is actually to make High Templar to make charge lots. But this is a telltale sign that the Protoss build isn't looking as fine as it should be. The reason for this is that generally you want your gateways to be finishing up right as you want to start making units, so you generally want to have your gateways finishing up around when charge is finishing as a Protoss, or as your Templar Archives is finishing, as that basically means that you're good to go to start making units. Right now, the Protoss player hasn't been making units, though, because his tech isn't really finished, so these gateways have had a lot of idle time, and that is just something to really consider. These 2 Immortals are going to get lifted up into the Prism. I think the Protoss player is going to start moving out on the map. That does seem to be his plan. The Immortals getting let out of the Prism, maybe going to start moving across the map. Charge is done by all means. The Templar Archives is done, so the Protoss is going to be able to start warping in a lot of units. He's moving out a Probe, though, and is actually going to take a 3rd base. Now, this is a head-scratcher as to why you'd go for so many gateways as a Protoss and then just decide to throw up a 3rd Nexus. I mean, he's going to start warping in some High Templar now, make some Archon, so he's still got gas to spend. As far as everything else is concerned, though, this really isn't the most optimal all-in from a critical point. I mean, the couple of Immortals, the 3 Archons, will be very strong, but behind this AlphaStar is making a lot of Roaches, making some Ravagers, has a very, very high Ling count, and I guess did see something that tipped it off to a potential big all-in or whatever. The AI or the human player is now going to be moving in, but as we see, he doesn't have like big waves of Zealots or anything yet. He's got some Archons, which will be very good against the Lings. Now we see 6 Zealots being made, but I still feel fear that AlphaStar is going to be in a very good position to hold this. However, if all the Lings die, that would not be a good start for the AI. So the Lings and Zealots actually cut off from each other, or the Lings and Roaches, pardon me, cut off from each other. So if the Protoss player can take a fight, and oh, AlphaStar derping quite a bit with its army control. Oh no. I think the AI totally just threw this game, losing all those Roaches and Ravagers, trying to get them to the north, but the army totally had them cut off. AlphaStar is now losing most of its workers at its third base. The Lings are going to attack by themselves. If all those Roaches were alive, that really would have helped out. A few are out, but it's simply not enough, I feel. So I think AlphaStar kind of threw this game and is probably going to be 2-0'd today in this video, which is not something we see a lot. GG. AlphaStar just gets whacked by the human players today. Wait, what? What? Diamond player was defeated. Why? Hold the phone. It said Diamond player was defeated, but he had totally just, like, killed the AI's third, who was moving in with a very scary attack. He had won this game. Right? I'm not mistaken. But the score screen that popped up, it was AlphaStar won. It said AlphaStar won the game. Good job, AlphaStar. Okay, I guess the human player just tapped out preemptively, thinking, hey, I didn't kill the Zerg quick enough or whatever. Maybe he lost power. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and count this one as a human victory, though. Yeah, that's really bizarre. Maybe something happened with the replay. Maybe the human player just, like, tapped out or whatever. Didn't wants to tank his MMR or something. I don't know. It's really odd. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the match, make sure to hit that like button. Join the Discord if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. You get daily Starcraft 2 in your YouTube feed. And I'll see you next time. This has been LaughNgamez. Thanks for watching.